All right, and welcome back to Whiteboard Gematria. I'm your host, Dallas, and let's get to it. All right, so 222,111 is the new 666. That's right, Revelation 13:18. So let's get to calculating and understanding what the number of the beast is. Okay, we're not going to spend too much time on this front section here, the triangle. We've been over it many times on this channel if you're new here, so just a quick reminder. We start with the triangle because it's a very important numerological foundation, for we know within it is hidden the messaging of the 666, as it is three geometric points, 1, 2, and 3. And inside of an equilateral triangle, you get the dimensions of 60 degrees by 60 degrees by 60 degrees. Using the Kabbalistic rule of dropping the zeros, we get 666, which also, when you add 6 plus 6 plus 6 is 18, which is on the other side of the equation. So you see that math put right into the geometric laying out of the triangle. Now, with that, we can take that foundation of understanding and we can use that mathematical principle of juxtaposing these numbers, simply due to the fact that in mathematics that's a sentence, so that's a true sentence. So 60 by 60 by 60 is the same thing as 180 degrees. They're the same thing. So you can break them down to use them in other forms of sentence, but in this we get that basic foundation. That's also important because when we apply the mythology to this, we can start to see the language again. So many times I've talked about that this is a language. So 180, of course, when we attach it, it's half circle, which is a reference to set, the sun setting, which is the sun worship symbols. Again, this is review. And when we see the sun set, and on the horizon, you get the perfect circle being cut in half, which brought forth the understanding of the mathematical equations of pi. So we get that in connection again to sun worship and pi. Now, what's also interesting about that circle and pi and sun god worship is when we take another triangle and lay it over top of it, we get 3 points and 3 points. So we get a 33, an association of 3 and a 3. We also get now 360 degrees. So within these two triangles, which we're familiar with as it's been hijacked in the current paradigm, referred to as the Star of David, which is actually the sigil of Saturn, we see that it is a 360 degree full circle, which is the sun. So within the triangle and the double triangle, we get this mythological meaning now applied to the mathematical truances. So when we take the next step forward, 360 degrees as a full circle in the sun, well, when we take the two triangles and overlap them, they themselves encode, obviously, the 666. For with it, we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 geometric points now on the outside, 6 geometric points on the inside, and it forms 6 individual triangles of its own. So we get this weird form of 3 groups of 6s in the natural geometric shape formed by those two very 3 3s, which have the 666 and the 180 built right in. So it's pretty interesting to see it break down. So now when we take a look over on the next section here, we're going to go a little bit now further with this. This here is all review. We've been through this before. Now with this, it's interesting because we're going to take that 3 now, let's expand on it, because 3 does have a pretty heavy association to that 6. So for example, 3 plus 3 is 6. So the 3 and the 3, the two of them just give us 6. 6 squared is 36. So we get the 3 and the 3 and the 360, and it's neat how 3 and 3 become 36. So there's just this mathematical organic flow in the numbers, and this is where the Kabbalists put more of their meaning and tie in most of this language. It's to the organic side of mathematics. So the mathematics is true, like 3 plus 3 is 6, which brings in that association to the 3 and the 3, so that becomes a mystical, right? So there's this combination of reality and belief, and that's the hard thing, is connecting the true belief, which has been a hidden part of the language, and the math, which is always there, but not many people study. So by melding this together, you can also see that the number 666 is the 36th triangular number. So that's pretty fascinating. And when we take a look at that, so we got 3 and 3 is 6. 6 squared is 36. 666 is 36. Well, 3 and 3, the 6s, the 36s, and the 666, right? So there's this very interesting thing that takes place in this, because we also get 6 as the third triangular number. And now what's a triangular number? That is simply one dot at the top, two dots underneath, because that's the next number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we just build them up. And it forms a triangle. So 6 is the third triangular number. So the first dot, the top point, that's the first triangular number. The two next ones, which are the two green ones, well, that's the second triangular number. You add them up, the total's 3. So now you have the third line, so the third triangular number, when you total those up, it's 6. So it's pretty fascinating when you start putting this together, because the three geometric points which form in geometry a triangle, which brings us the interdimensions of 6, 6 is the third triangular number. So you get this massive organic overflow, like this. It's like a river of how these things are just moving together. It all flows together. Now that's pretty interesting, because we also get with the two the overlap, right? We also get the two triangles, the Star of David, the sigil of Saturn. Well, inside the sigil of Saturn is the cube, and the cube is one of the number one symbols of Saturn worship, used, one of the most prominent in our culture. Now the cube is interesting in this because it also has 6 faces on it. Those are your dice, right? You got your 6-sided dice. Saturn is also the 6th planet from the sun. In 1981, and that's that sun worship, right? They're measuring it from the sun. In 1981, NASA discovers that Saturn has a hexagonal north pole. Well, that's pretty interesting, because in 81, well, the mirror of 81 is 18, which is 666. 81 is also interesting because it's 9 times 9, which is 333. So there's very interesting numbers, because that is also now associated. So we get the cube, we get the Saturn worship, we also get the sun worship, and we also get the symbolism worship. And now we see how it's being used in the biblical sense in order for control. So from the Kabbalistics' point of view, they believe in the Bible. So from their point of view, they also have the man-made day. So God made man on day 6. This 6, which is interesting because he uses 6 days to create everything, 6 different processes, and it created a 6-dimensional world in which man, who was built in the image of God, God being perfect, was built on the 6th day, builds all this perfection into this number. So it's reinforcing the fact of perfection in the number 6, which is pretty interesting, because as we move forward, when we take a look at the number 6 itself, the number 6, 1 plus 2 plus 3 equals 6. So when you take a look at the divisors of 6, when you add up the divisors and they equal the number, that is a perfect number. That's how we define a perfect number. So even in the belief mythology, in the systems of that go all the way back to Babylon and Egypt, back to ancient Rome, all the way through the sun worship system, the numerology, it's this unbelievably easy to see, and it's not even complex. Like it's there if you take the time. It's just weird how we don't. So now when we take a deeper look into this divisors of 6 and break down the number 6, because we're taking this step of 3 and 3 and moving it into the deeper realm of 6, then we can also see that 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 6 equals 12. 12 in its own is 1 plus 2 equals 3, so it goes back to that 3, which is interesting. However, 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 6 is 12. Well, 6 plus 6 is 12. So it's interesting how these numbers are interrelated, the 6, 6, and the 12 as it adds up. And why is that? Because the mirror of 12 is 21, and 21 is the 6th triangular number. Now, when we double this up, which is pretty interesting, so we go from 2, 1, we get the 6th triangular number. Well, if we go 2 2s and 2 1s, we get the 66th triangle. It doubles. And so the pattern continues. If we triple it up, 222,111 is the new 666 triangular number. And it continues on. So 2, 3, 4, 5. 2 plus 1 equals 3. 3 plus 3 equals 6. 6 is the hidden perfection number, and it's hiding behind the number 2211. 222,111. And that's why we're seeing that code everywhere. It's because 6 hides in the 3, which is built upon 1 plus 2, the 1, 2, the 2, 1. And what's interesting about the number 2, 1, the 21, that's also 7 plus 7 plus 7. So we get our order out of chaos in the 2s and the 7s. It's just a fascinating Kabbalistic look and understanding of where they get this idea. So we're looking at the understanding of the number of the beast. So they can throw out 2 1s all day long in front of us, and we will never see the 6s. But when they are doing it, they're doing it all the same. It's all the same. It means exactly the same thing. If I say 2, 2, 1, 1, I am saying 66, triangular number. When I say 666, I'm saying, so as a Kabbalist, they have rules to these numbers, and it's because they are mathematically, organically connected, and you have to follow that. Otherwise, you're not. So this all goes back again. In Romans, Paul talks about how the things of God are clearly seen in all the things that are made. This is the process of breaking down what God has seen, or God's knowledge, for the things of God are clearly displayed in what he has made. So they believe by breaking down what God has made, they then can get the mind of God. Now, how can you get the mind of God if you take these numbers and make them mean whatever you want? That is not how this works. This is real numbers based upon real mathematical formula, based upon mathematical language, crossing over into geometry, mixing with religion, in order to grow a language that only the people who know about this know. Even though it's all right there for us to see. Nobody in their right mind, especially in a day and age where you can't get off your phone because, that little light, flashes up and you got to push a button. So it's just the way it has become. So let him who has understanding calculate the number of the beast. Why? So that we can spread this. Enlighten people that this is happening right in front of us, and it doesn't always have to be exactly how we think it should be. For 222,111 is the new 666, and it is driving the event 201, the 2001 9/11. It is driving the 2021 year we are in. It is the new 666. It's leading us to the 222 year, followed by the 223, the reverse skull and bones year. So let's pay attention, because this is a deep connection to all the numbers we've been tracking for a long time. So to show you how much and how much study has been put into this, let's just go a little deep here. So we remember 6 times 6 is 36. 666 is the 36 triangular number. A square, and this is a neat mathematical geometry connection. It's a very neat thing that only happens for them, and that's a 36 is a perfect square and a perfect triangle. So it's just, we can't manipulate what's actually there. So we have to go by what is actually there. They've researched, they've put out what's considered math, what we understand as math, and what is actual fact. Because if we mythify this on our own, then it can become anything. It can become our own paper dragon. We have to be very careful not to manipulate our minds into believing that we ourselves are figuring this out, because it just doesn't work that way. It can't work that way. So let's expand our knowledge. Let's get to the uncomfortable areas that we don't really like, which is, for a lot of people, which is math, which I've actually found quite relaxing now that I've kind of learned it a little bit. So let's see here. Now we're going to be taking a quick look at so when you take a look at this triangle, just a quick reference here for those who've been following for a while. I don't want to labor this because it's a little bit off track, but you will find it pretty interesting that, so 36 being the 8th triangular number, so we do have that connection. Why? Because when we take that triangle with the 36, so on the square it's just 6 by 6, right? So 6 by 6, but a triangle has 8, 8, 8, so it's an 888 reference. So 36 is the 8th triangular number, and it actually has the 888 built right into it, which leaves on the inside the 5th triangular number, which is 15, which is 5 by a 5 by 5 triangle. So that's a pretty interesting connection too, because of what's built into that in the history we've done on this channel. Okay, so enough of that sidetrack. So taking a look at Pascal's triangle. This is a very interesting numerical sequence, again combined into geometry, and now you can apply mythological references over top if you prefer. So we'll show another example of how this is done. So if we take a triangle and we start at the point, which is, you know, the first triangular number is just the number 1. Okay, next we have the next numbers below it, so we get 1, 1. Well, now we have a gap. Well, we got to fill that gap. So the next line is going to be filling that gap in the triangle. So 1 plus 1 is 2. And just as we continue on, 1, we got to fill that gap now, and fill that gap. So as the triangle builds with each layer, with each new number, so 1 number, 2 numbers, 3 numbers, we're taking that same triangular number system, but we're applying a numerical growth pattern to it. So we're just going and filling it by adding the numbers on top. So here we was 1 plus 2 equals 3, 1 plus 2 equals 3, 1 plus 3 equals 4, 3 plus 3 equals 6, 3 plus 1 equals 4, 1 plus 4 equals 5, 6 plus 4 equals 10, 6 plus 4 is 10, 1 plus 4 is 5, so on, and it grows forward. This creates an interesting numerical pattern. So on the outside you get 1s down the whole outside of how it grows. Also we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Other side 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then this other neat thing appears. So now this is a triangular number. This is a triangular grid we're building. And by simply allowing it to mathematically equate to itself, this third row, 1, 3, 6, 10, 15, 21, actually tells us the pattern of all the triangular numbers. The first triangular number is the number 1. Then the second triangular number is 2. Then the third triangular number is 3, followed by 6, followed, right? So we get 1, 3, 6, 10, 15, and that is actually the triangular number sequence. The first, the second, the third, and we just learned that, right? 6 is the third triangular number. 1 is the first, 3rd is the second, 6 is the third, 10th is the fourth, 15 is the 5th triangular number, 21 is the 6th triangular number. We just looked at that. 21 is the 6th triangular number. 6 is the 3rd triangular number. It's absolutely fascinating. The 6, 6, 6, and the 2 1s and the 33s together forever in mathematical harmony. I couldn't help myself. Sorry, guys. That was pretty lame. Let's move on. Okay, so Pascal's number. Now, we talked about how by mixing the math and by mixing that with the geometry, we get some very interesting things that happen in organic, actual science. But now by mixing that with mythology, we get neat things that they put out in front of us. So this is a reference to triangles. Started by the Lucius Trust Company, which was originally Lucifer Trust, which Alice Bailey produced with her husband, Alice being the feminine version of the name Lucifer, who created the Lucifer Trust Printing Company to pick up from Helena Blavatsky's starting and mass printing of her theosophical books. Alice Bailey, the head writer and theosophist of the religion movement for the UN, who has helped design and made the most occultic prayer room, which is all based upon this stuff, has started this organization called Triangles in the year of 1937. So that's pretty interesting because that organization goes about coordinating prayer events from thousands and hundreds of thousands and millions of people all around the world to do occult-based ritual prayers at those same times and at the same days, now doing worldwide occult rituals on a cooperative worldwide scale. And it's pretty interesting because Lucius Trust in 1938 or 37 started at 19 as our 8th prime, which is a connection to our 666, which also in the 8th prime, well, that leaves us to 37. 37 is an incredibly connected number again to 21s, 3s, and 6s, especially 3s and the 21. Why is that? Well, 3 times 7 is 21. 21 is the 6th triangular number, 3 plus 3. 21 is 2 plus 1 is 3. 21 is the 6th triangular number, the 3, 3, like I just said. Well, 37 is the 21 times 3 is 111. 1937 times 6 is 222, which is 3, 6, 9, 12. We're just going up by 3s. That's how you get all your rep digits of triplicates. 3 gives us 1. Now, here's some interesting math, because when we're taking that 21, which is the 6, the 3, multiply it by the 3, we get, well, what is 3? 3 is made up of a group of 3 ones. 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 3. 6 is a triplicate number itself, made up of a group of 2 plus 2 plus 2. Well, 2 plus 2 plus 2 is 6. 37 times 6 gets us 222. 9 is a triplicate number. 3 plus 3 plus 3 equals 9, and that's 37 times 9. And so on and so forth. 4 plus 4 plus 4 is 12. 37 times 12 is 444. The magical number 37 gets us our 37, which is the 21, times 18, which is our 666. It's all connected, my friends. 37. And it's organic math. That's God's math. God created math. That's true. That is a true mathematical fact. So I wonder, when she put her mathematical truances on the 837, do you think that was an accident? The 8 prime is the 1936 or 1937. Our 8th prime gets us our 36th triangular equation. Our 37 gets us all of our connections for a system-wide world occult creating network. They took the magic number 37 and combined it with the 8th triangular number, which is 36. Absolutely incredible, my friends. The 6, which is the now control of the Jewish state, the cube, which is control of the Muslim state, and the cross, which folds up into a cube, which is in control of Christianity. The 666 world religion is complete. The new world order is being built, and it's right in front of our eyes. But they're not telling us it's 666. This event is run as 222,111, for it is the new 666. Wherever you are, I hope this finds you well. God bless.